Hello and welcome to AutoCAD for beginners. In this particular video, we'll be discussing basically three things. First, annotative dimensions. Second, the command hatch. And third, calculating areas. So, I would start with annotative dimensions. For that, I'll just create a random object on the screen. Now, annotative objects are basically dimension lines that appear always the same size in the paper no matter the scale. That's how the annotative dimensions are used. For example, we have this particular square over here. Let me just add a few more details in this so that we shall move forward with the video. So, to insert annotative dimensions, you just need to go to the dimension style by using the dim style command and press enter. Over here, you can choose the annotative dimensions and select to modify them. Over here, the arrow size is written as 2.5. I think that is pretty convenient for me. The second, I'll just go and see the text size, that is also 2.5 millimeter. I guess that is also quite convenient for me, and I can just go and select OK, and I shall close the dimension style manager. Over here we have the annotative dimension active. If we go to our layout tab and we see our viewport, we can see that there is one viewport. I am supposedly going to make two viewports over here with different scales. So over here I'm going to make one viewport with one scale. Say 1:20. 1:20 is also quite big. Let's make it 1:10. In this video, we'd also be learning how to work in multiple viewports. So over here you can see I have one particular viewport on. This is my one viewport. And to insert another viewport, I'm going to enter the command viewport. And I'm going to click on OK here. I'll specify the first corner of the viewport and the second corner of the viewport. Over here I can already see the object that is there. You can select the scale, say 1:50. 1:50 is quite too big. I guess 1:40 would do fine. So we have two viewports over here. This one is a detailed view and this one is a overall view of our object. This one's scale is 1:40, whereas this one's scale is 1:10. So let's just go back to our model. Over here we can select the scale to 1:10. So that means that 1:10 is going to showcase this particular viewport. I'm going to enter dimension styles. And mark my dimensions. Since you already saw over here, we took completely random dimensions. And now I'm going to make dimensions for the scale 1:40. If you saw what I did, this is a pretty quick way of making dimensions. You just I just press Ctrl+Z to teach you. You just make one dimension, and if you want to make dimensions in continuation for this, you just select on this particular line, select the extension line over here, and you can just continue making dimensions. That way you won't have to double click to make each and every dimension. You can also put on the ortho mode if you want your dimensions to be perfectly horizontal or vertical. That way it'll avoid making mistakes. Now if you can see over here that we have dimensions both in scale 1:10 and 1:40. Now if you go to the model, layout 1, you can see that these appear to be on the same size on the paper, that is 2.5 mm. If you notice that these dimensions, they are not appearing over here, that's because this viewport is made in scale 1:40. So only dimensions which are made in the scale 1:40 are going to appear over here. Similarly with this viewport, only the dimensions that are made in the scale 1:10 are going to appear here. That way your drawing can be neat and clean and organized at the same point. Now let us see the command hatch. Going back to our model, I'll just delete all these dimensions over here. By the way, I'll just tell you a new trick that just came to my mind. If you are really lazy or you just forget to change the layers while changing dimensions, for example, if I want to put dimensions and I want to put dimensions in one particular layer, and I always forget to put change the layers while making dimensions, I mean I am forgetful like that. If you are like me too, then you can just use the command dim layer. Press enter. It's asking me if I want to put all the dimensions in the current layer, but I'm not going to put them in the current layer. I'm going to put them in the layer dimensions. I'm going to press enter, and if you can see the layer properties, there would be a new layer called dimensions. I guess I didn't create the layer beforehand. I'm going to have to do the process all over again. Dim layer, enter, dimensions, enter. Now whatever dimensions that I enter after this, they are going to be in that particular layer. For example, if I create dimension like this and I select this, it's going to be in the layer dimensions automatically. So that's how the dimension line works, the dim layer command works. If you have it on, good for you. If you don't, if you remember to change the dimensions, if you remember to change the layer each time you enter dimensions, then it's good for you as well. The next I'm going to be teaching you is how to work with hatches. So hatches are fairly simple, and over here there's an icon. It fills an enclosed area or selected objects with a hatch pattern or fill. So if you select the command hatch, a new ribbon over here appears. You can see that there are different patterns over here: solid, angle, and bricks, concrete, roof, clay, flex, glass. There are all these different options, there are all these different hatches available over here. You can also use solid patterns, you can use gradients, or you can use user defined options as well. You can change the layer, you can change the color of the hatch, you can change the transparency, the angle, the scale, etc. Now let me just show you how the hatch command works. I just press on the hatch command, use a solid tool, and just go over in any enclosed area, for example this rectangle over here, and click. So now this is hatched, this particular rectangle, but as you can see that there is no hatch visible. That's because we selected a solid hatch over here. If I change the hatch to this, you can see it's still appearing to be solid. That is because the scale is set to 1. If the scale is set to 1, that means that the distance between these two lines is going to be 1 millimeter. So if you want to change the scale, you can change the scale to say 10. Now you can see the hatch very clearly. If you want to hatch multiple objects at the same time and you want the hatch to behave as one singular object, it's fairly simple. You just select it, go over different areas, and press enter. You can see how these different objects, they are appearing to be a single object. You can increase the scale of the hatch by pressing enter. You can also change the color over here. There are various color options available over here. You can change the color to say this. You can change the color to anything. This particular option changes the color of the hatch. For example, it changes the color of the line over here. For example, if I choose this, it changed the color of the line. But if I choose this one, it's gonna change the color of the background of the hatch. For example, if I choose yellow, so it changed the background of the hatch to yellow. I'm just going to delete this hatch for now. Since I showed you one particular command in which you can put the dimensions directly into the layer of dimensions, you can also use a similar command for hatch. For example, if you just go to the layer properties and add a layer of hatch like this and press enter, we've created a new layer for hatch. The command for that is HP layer. Using this command, you can enter the layer for hatch and press enter. From here on, whatever hatch you do is going to go directly into that particular layer. Let's just try this feature out. I just pick this internal point and this internal point. If I select this, go to the home tab, I can see that this hatch has appeared in the layer hatch. Second thing that I'm going to show you is how to use hatch transparency to highlight objects. For example, if I want to highlight this particular area in this rectangle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the layer properties. I'm going to deselect all the layers. I'm going to make a new layer for the rectangle. A new layer, rectangle. I'm going to put this rectangle into my layer. And I'm going to select all but current. And turn off all the layers. Now I'm going to hatch this particular rectangle in a solid way. And the hatch has not appeared. The reason that hasn't appeared is because it went automatically to the layer hatch and we turned it off. So I'm just going to turn this layer on. I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to change its properties. I'm going to change it to solid and I'm going to change it to green. Now I'm going to go to the home tab and put all the layers to on. But as you can see that the hatch has covered all the objects and it's not showing any of the objects that was behind, that was that were there already. So if you want to push the hatch towards a backhand side, just select it, right click it, and you go to the draw order and you select send to back. Now you can see all the objects, they have come forward and the hatch has gone backward. But still, if you want to increase the visibility of these other objects, you can just select the layer hatch. You can increase the hatch transparency from here and you can press escape. Now I can better see the hatch layers and my objects very clearly. Let me tell you, it is recommended to create a different hatch layer for the hatch command. It is recommended because when we are working in a drawing with a lot of hatch objects, the computer may get a bit slow, specifically if you're working with patterns. What you can do is, you can select complex objects. For example, if I select a complex shape, let me just make it a bit complex. And if I try to hatch this, it's going to take a while. So I would recommend using a solid hatch first because it fills easily, and then you can later change the hatch type to whatever you want. I would also recommend that you freeze your hatch layer whenever you are working on the other parts of your drawing, because the hatch layer tends to consume a lot of storage space in your computer and your computer tends to become a little lethargic. Now I'm going to be teaching you how to calculate areas in AutoCAD. To calculate areas, either you can enter the command AA, or you can just go over here and using the drop down menu you can select the angle. You can select the area. For example, if I want to specify the area of this particular rectangle, I can just go over to all the corners of the rectangle and you can see a solid green region is being shaded. That green region denotes the total area of which it is going to tell us. I'm just going to press enter. The area it's showing is 896949.0910 and the perimeter it shows to be 3788. So that's how the measure tool works and that's how we calculate area. But there are several uses of area commands other than this also. If I enter the command AA, there is an option to object, add area and subtract area. If I select the command object, I just need to select one particular object. For example, if I select the square, this huge square over here, it just tells me the area of that directly. Similarly, if I have a polyline like this and use the command AA, if I go towards each of the points and try to shade each and every region, it's going to be a long and a tedious task. So for that, I just use the command object or enter and select this polyline to know its area and length. So that's how the object command in the area works. Another way to find out areas is if I just use the command area and I want to add certain areas, then I use the command add area. For that, I just press A once. See, I want to add the area of this rectangle and I press enter to this square. So you can see that both the regions are now being shaded. If I press enter again, it shows me the complete area and the perimeter. I can also add another square like this and press enter. It shows me the total area and the perimeter of the objects. If I just press escape now, it just vanishes. Another aspect of the area command is that you can subtract areas using this. If I activate the area command again, I have an option for subtract area. You just press S, enter. So if you select this rectangle now, it comes shaded in red. Press enter. If you press this particular rectangle and enter, it shows me the total area to be in negative, which is negative 1793898.1819. That is because we have just subtracted this area, but we haven't specified from what we have to subtract this area. If you want to subtract this area from this complete square, we just need to add a complete square. For that, I just use this command and select this complete square over here. And if I press enter, it shows me the total area to be some huge figure and it's showing me the area after subtracting what's there in the red shaded regions. So that's how you use the area command to add areas, subtract areas, find out areas of the polylines and their perimeter, length, etc. I hope you found this video helpful and stay tuned for future videos. Thank you.